But I think that if you can, I'm sure, I mean, I don't know.
I just don't want to over-awareness for my mom.
You're taking photos. Does that make sense? I'm sure I got grumpy old people, right? I mean, it's just a natural process. You know, fortunately, all my neighbors are good. And I told them, really good. You know, I just, we're doing pretty well for us. And I'm proud of it.
Starbucks on my shit, but you know, I needed something, you know, and I'm like looking for all the joints, and I'm like, there's lines coming out the doors, and I don't want to be late coming to Greenland here. So.
Oh, I didn't even ask her.
Yeah. Mine is not, but it's like, it just was like, you know, you look very nice. I'm sure that I've seen that
Robert! You want to get close so I can leave Tiny go with you when I because she one of the few people that I can leave with when I'm up there.
All right, so I'll sit over here.
If you want to.
Yeah, I need to touch me.
You come to all my meetings, so come on.
You'll see if you ever come to my house again.
How's it work? Okay. Who's it?
So like it's kind of like this.
Eden.
When is it my turn to shine?
Apparently never. Hello, is this okay? Sounds good? Okay, so Maggie asked us to start at 4:20 on 4:20, so here we are, and I want to follow it up by saying I'm shocked that nobody has touched the wine or the beer.
There's wine and beer?
Yeah, it's right there. Yeah. Hi, I'm Bill. Thanks for coming to the Museum of Reclaimed Urban Space. So we've never done like a poetry event here before. I recently met JOANIE, and JOANIE was looking for different spaces to hold events. And over the years, my friend Eek here and my friend HAYLEY has asked us to do these events. So I kind of wanted to bring some of my friends together and, you know, put them together and see if we can do something more regular. We actually have a bigger space in the back, which I think we should have used, but in the future, if this becomes a more regular thing, then we'll have things in the back. So, without further ado, JOANIE.
Oh, it died down already? Shattering applause died down.
Let's hear it again. Let's hear it.
Now everybody's going to have to move this thing up again. But sorry about that. We just got to. So I am absolutely thrilled to see all these people, and like many people from different parts of my life, and people I don't know, which is always exciting and wonderful, and being here at Morris, because I have always wanted to come here and never gotten my sorry ass down here. But finally today I did, and this is a great space, and I have deep admiration, by the way, for what is done here in terms of documenting the urban space, specifically of the Lower East Side, where I've lived for nigh on 40 years, maybe more, I don't know. Anyway, it's, we love the Lower East Side, and it needs to be preserved. So sad. I'm going to read the order of the readers, because I didn't even have the courtesy to get that together. What I've done is to intersperse the readers from Pandemic Poetry Project. I'm popping my peas. Do I really even need this mic? Well, maybe. The Pandemic Poetry Project was started like shortly after the pandemic started. And it was originally associated with the School of something Judaism,
Creative, I think creative.
School of Creative Judaism, which is helmed by my friend Rabbi Misha Schulman, who runs the new shul. And if there are any kids in here, you should check it out. A lot of the, or even if you're not, it's often online, and his work is incredible because it is conservative Judaism and creativity. He's a fantastic artist, playwright, writer, and also activism. And the shul is very involved in Black Lives Matter and very involved in the integration of Palestinian and Israeli lives and the advocacy in Israel for Palestinian rights. So it's an incredible organization. I'm running out of steam now. So I think we can afford about 8 minutes for everybody. Anybody want to be the timer? Oh, I'll be two times. Thank you. And who are you?
I'm Halmeda. I'm Nancy Oak's daughter who's reading.
Ah, yes, yes, of course. Hi. Thanks. Thank you so much. So 8 minutes. And if somebody's mid-sentence, give a finger at 7, okay? And then at 8 minutes, if they're mid-poem, let them finish the poem, of course, okay? And I guess if we go over, we're already over, so what difference does it make? Okay, I'm going to give you now the order of the readers. I'm going to go first so I can get it over with, and then I can go to the bathroom. That'll be cool. Bobby, who is on phone over there, he is going to read in one of our members of Pandemic Poetry, and she couldn't be here today, but we can talk a little bit about her. And then Claire, you'll follow Bobby, and Eek, you'll follow the lovely lady next to you, Claire. And then Bobby will follow the lovely Eek, who is right over here. And then Nancy. And then Maggie. Yeah. And then Fly, one of the heroes of Morris. Great artist and woman I've known for a long, long time. Embarrassing her. Okay. And then dear old friend Pat Russell from living theater fame and other theater, and marvelous writer, terrific performer. I'm giving you the bios now, so if that's not, I don't have to do them. And Hayley, where's Hayley again? There she is, yeah. Okay, Hayley looking good up on the file cabinet. And finally, Frank Morales will wrap it up. And if anybody, holy shit!
Stick me in there.
Yeah, in the middle? Okay. I'm going to stick Ziggy. This is Ziggy Lowenberg. She is here from Oakland. She's a member of Pandemic Poetry and also was a very significant part of the poetry scene here in New York with her husband, Raymond Nat Turner, of Upsurge Jazz. And
Can I go after Claire?
yes, you can follow Claire, which means that after Claire, you go after Ziggy. Yeah, I'll call you guys out anyway. Okay? All right. And I guess that's it. Did I forget anything? Am I remiss? Okay. Above all, I would really, really, really like to thank our dear friend, Will CASHMAN, who is an incredible advocate for so many things, and a budding anarchist, and all the things I know. So, yeah. Okay. So, as I said, I'm going to read first, so here we go. My incredible mother died about 2 years ago, and I recently wrote this sonnet about her because I've been writing sonnets and it's interesting and fun. So this is called Sonnet Number 5, We Were So in Love. It's going to be published in Silver Birch Press shortly, I guess. Who knows when. We were so in love with each other, she and I, from the very first moment we saw each other. I, wrinkled and red, she, exhausted from urging tiny me to free her tiny body from pregnancy. When she held me in her arms in primal time, smiled, and stroked my virgin skin, my velvet girl. I gazed into her eyes and swam her depths. Grew comfortable with her serrated shores. We were quite the pair, inseparable, till storms brewed offshore. Dashing tranquility. We crawled ashore, abashed and out of breath. Our oceanic love outlived catastrophe until she died. Now she lives on in me. G-L-O-R-I-A. And this is also, well, let's see. I wonder if I could sing this. Mommy, I'm sprouting chin hairs. They're actually been here for some time. Remember how you cut Grandma's chin hairs? There's no one left but me to trim mine. Mommy, I've developed age spots. Never thought it'd happen to me. Gosh, I hope that it's not melanoma. Guess I'll get me to a doctor and see. There's no one here to take me by the hand and walk me through these difficult scenes. If you were around, you'd accompany me, and you listen when I shared my dreams. I don't give a crap about the chin hairs, the age spots, or my bladder that leaks. It's the fact that you're not here to comfort me, because that's what my lonely heart seeks. I could deal with blemishes and bothers, and the bladder, I could even live with that. It's just that your warm physical being is no longer here to keep my soul intact. Not here to comfort or console me, to cuddle, encourage, and hold me. I still need mommy's love to enfold me, and I don't mean in the abstract. This is a long poem, but I'm not going to read all of it. I'm going to read part 4. It's called Praise Song for Our Sister. It was written after the death of a very, very important person in many of our lives, Thomas Scott Walker, who was an actor with the Living Theater for 50 years. Praise Song from our Sister. I sing a praise song to departed souls as whole as they were ever when alive. Praise to their power to bury us or crush us with as much intensity as when they were alive in the human hive. Praise to the departed souls who still help us rise in the morning with a promise of renewal, even while their own renewal is not obtainable. Praise to the departed souls who fill hearts with joy where we call to them and fill our eyes with tears when recalled. Praise to the departed souls who are absent and yet ever present for as long as our eerie brain pan records the ticking moments of individual lives. Praise song to life, with the shades of our beloved departed souls weaving in and out of all the openings in our bodies as if they were the fluids which maintain and sustain us until we run dry. Praise bird song and symphony, praise sky and sacrosanct reality, and finally the subsequent sanctity that concludes every journey, not with finality, but dynamic continuity we have yet to understand. This is a poem written about Tompkins Square Park. It's called Spring. Picked apart ice from hammer sails beneath the music of certain voices. Winter clings with wind to limbs, impatient lovers, carnival skin, on fire, anonymous handshakes, a dark stranger's kiss, familiar hiss, stranger, the eyes, the smile. Welcomes the dead back from overturned closet. The sun belongs to today's, yesterdays, and tomorrows. The blazing park, a dangerous field of queens, dogs, drugs, futures, trees. The street, an uncovered roasting pan. Food on the table, scent of meat, mud, and menses. It is here. I hear my heart in many shades, wailing cries. Friends greeting friends, thunderous memories, phrases, calls. It is here, my red, red hair, gleaming in the bright, the healing sun of anonymity. Here, here, I reach for your hand. How am I doing for time?
1 minute and 11 seconds.
I do. Okay. This is called, thank you. This is called The Approximate Woman. It's written sort of as a counterpoint to Tristan Tzara's, 1 minute?
Well, it was.
Oh,
1 minute
okay, because this is kind of a long one. Maybe I should skip it.
No, do it.
All right. Twist my arm. It's a Dadaistic poem, sort of. Approximate woman wanders through a rave in Williamsburg, dodging sequins and alkyl nitrate sprays that cause peacocks to spread their feathers. The rave is itself a protest, a defiance against sequins and seamen, men and women, a self-affirming plunge into anarchiocracy. Why not? Where, oh where can we go from here? She seeks out a source, searching for a spring of solid subsistence, all the while decrying a proximate man. For his voice, brilliant as it is the voice of the last century. All the centuries tie us together to seek a future as far away as possible from tyranny. That's why she goes to raves, also Burbank and Bulgaria. She sings a snatch of a reggae song that surfaces on her internal soundtrack, inventing ludicrous lyrics, a desperate attempt to break apart language and create a grammar devoid of currency and war. She sings a song of a reggae. She sings a snatch of a reggae song that surfaces on her internal soundtrack, inventing ludicrous lyrics, a desperate attempt to break apart language and create a grammar devoid of, I'm reading the same thing over again, currency and war, sorry about that. Borrowing from Schitter's, she drops her take on grn grn lenim, forcing obscure but specific pattern to signify heft on a page. Concrete language like cuneiform, or the way Sequoia invented written Cherokee language, then squats without shame in a rye field, doing what's thought to come naturally to women, although she's never believed in the biological imperative. She hunkers down to make way for a birth or orgasm, relaxing from the top of her brain to the tip of her pubis, vows to not shit it out as her writing girl hinted, nor let slip the placenta till enfant terrible arrives. Press down, down, but don't push, she coaches herself as the rye field nods its approval. She wonders what will happen to her trees, stars, Earth's future with this birth. Rubs her pubis against a smooth stone stuck in the ground, like a harbinger of a new millennium, hoping she can drop baby through her canal of dreams straight from her womb. She brings down the moon instead. Blood rushing into rivers, but without major after effect. The snuffling of a pig's song comforts her as she moans. She had the audacity to think she could produce apotheosis. Approximate woman might be a bit inexact, but she's had it with this nonsense. She vows to post valid notions over the net to bring on a fresh new world. Thank you. And now we are having Robert HEGER reading in Ina. This could be a mistake.
Okay. That's what we got. All right, so please excuse my ignorance of, well, not ignorance, but I'm terrible with names. I know Ina's first name, but I do not know her second. Zenon, okay. All right, so these are two short poems by Ina Zenon, and they will speak for themselves, I think. Okay, let's just adjust this a bit.
A little taller than me.
Yeah, a little. Okay. Fly, Flacco. Flacco, a Eurasian eagle who escaped from Central Park Zoo last year, died. He crashed into a building on West 89th Street. It's not easy to survive in this city. Sometimes you are blinded by its tremendous glitter, deafened by the city's implacable pulse. You try to soar up, but you tumbled down into the city's chasm. You were loved and rejected at the same time, embraced by the city's multiple hands and bruised by its unforgiving angels. I still have scars from these close encounters. We will meet again, Flacco. We will watch how the morning light travels among the unloved old buildings, how the city's unrelenting corners dissolve this hopeful light into the grayness of the sidewalk. When I meet your amber eyes in the darkness, I will wave my wounded wing at you.
Wow.
Thank you, Anna. Okay, and here is her second selection. You can't break me. I'm already broken, like a woman in a Picasso painting. My body is a fragile triangle, ravished by multiple colors. The head is floating next to the body. My eyes are two strange squares. The careless painter didn't do a good job. He left his painting unfinished. Don't look for a nail to hang the canvas. Sharp objects are too dangerous to handle in this chaos.
Okay, we have a little bit of a change in program. Frank Morales is going to be up next.
Thank you.
And then followed by Claire. Can you let Frank see?
Oh, certainly.
Hey, good to hear you.
All right, how are you?
Oh, here, Bob.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, I want to thank everyone for allowing me to butt in like this. It's kind of, appreciate it. I have a very short, couple of short poems, pieces. It's a very short one.
You want to raise the mic a little? So we can hear you better?
Okay. Okay. It's very short. Everything bounces. That's it. That's the first one. It's a really short one. Kind of metaphysical.
Can you repeat it again?
Everything bounces. They do it with a different affect. This one is from the late 70s. I was living in the South Bronx. I've never been able to feel the soil below my feet, free from toil, like a native can. Amoeba, photons, atoms and rings, endless space between me and things. I'm so alone. I think I'll bury my number, bury my games, bury my suitcase, bury my name, see what'll grow. But the eye of God is a lightning sun. It's got me on the run, war and hell. Free the captives, workers from their toil. Free the mountains, free the soil. Make it real. I've never been able to feel the soil below my feet, free from toil, like a native can. This kind of goes to a melody of 1649 at St. George's Hill. This is my squatter friends. A ragged band they called the Diggers came to show the people's will. They defied the landlords, they defied the laws. They were the dispossessed, reclaiming what was theirs. We come in peace, they said, to dig and sow. We've come to till the earth in common and to make the wastelands grow. This world divided, we will make one, so it can be a common treasury for all. The sin of property we do disdain. No one has any right to buy and sell the earth for private gain by theft and murder. They took the land. Now everywhere the walls stream up at their command. They made the laws to chain us well. The clergy dazzle us with heaven, then they damn us into hell. I will not worship the God they serve, the God of greed who feeds the rich while poor folks starve. From men of property, the orders came. They sent their hired goons and thugs to wipe out the diggers' claim, tore down their cottages, destroyed their corn. They were dispersed, only their vision lingers on. In 1649 at St. George's Hill, a ragged band they called the Diggers came to show the people's will. They defied the landlords, they defied the laws. They were the dispossessed, reclaiming what was theirs. Thank you.
I was remiss in that I didn't read Frank's little bio, so I would like to just do that quickly. Hi. Frank Morales is a longtime resident of 10th Street, born and raised in the Jacob Ritz projects. Frank is an Reese, excuse me. Ritz.
I like Ritz. Ritz.
Well, you are rich.
Right.
Frank is an advocate of squatting of vacant spaces in the interests of creating homes with and for those in need. A lifetime resident of the Lower East Side and an Episcopal priest and founding members since 1975 of the New York City chapter of Christians for Socialism. So, now you know who he is.
I'm tending to a family who's, we've got a funeral coming up, so that's where I'm running. So.
Sorry.
All right, good luck. Peace and thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Happy Earth Day.
Yes, that too.
That's coming up.
Okay, and now we have Claire Fichet, and Claire Fichet is a longtime resident of the East Village, and we live on the west side, you know, west of 2nd Avenue. So, but she was one of the founding members of the. I know what it is. Give me the thing.
The Theater of the Oppressed Laboratory.
Yeah, Top Lab. That's what I was trying.
Top
If
Lab.
you are familiar with Theater of the Oppressed Laboratory, and she was one of the movers and shakers of the Brecht Forum and School for Marxism, and she's a wonderful artist, singer. She's going to be a jazz singer. She's going to be again. She's a piece of work, and we love her.
Thank you. Whoops. No. Do I need to adjust? Is this okay? That's okay. Yeah, okay, all right. So, hello. Hello. If I put it a little lower, would it, because I can't really see. This gets in my line of vision. I'm not used to talking like this. Hey, that's better. Thank you very much. Okay. Hello again. Yeah. Oh. Thank you. Thank you very much.
That sounds great.
Okay. The poem I'm going to be sharing with you today is part of a series called The Masters. And it's called Prelude to a Rape. I tell my daughters, if rape is inevitable, you should just lie down and enjoy it. These are the words of Robert R.J. Reagan, Republican nominee for the Michigan House of Representatives on March 7th, 2022, in an interview, by at the YouTube, in the YouTube channel Rescue Michigan. Hate. It's called pouncing on you from behind. It's called don't move or you'll die. It's called stone face. Twitching cheeks and flameless irises that look through you without seeing. Brain fog. Pushing his hands to take knife and put to throat, ready to slit your precious, soft, so intimate skin, dragging you up 48 stairs to rooftop landing, opening floodgates of sounds and electric currents you never knew, yet always knew you had. As you breathe past disbelief and calmly choose to flow into unleashed streams of words connecting you to shared mundane experiences of everyday life. You hope, hoping beyond hope. He's not a sadist. Hoping beyond hope to avoid bleeding to death. Hoping beyond hope you won't be hurled from rooftop tiles like that young girl, hoping beyond hope to survive. Next door neighbor, war trauma survivor, watches ascent through frozen peephole eyes, unable to respond. Left by chance alive and uncut, yet seemingly never fully in your body. You will slowly welcome new pulses of reconnection as you remember that you fought back, while understanding that you still could have died. Left with a legacy of dead weight, you will learn to practice the life arts of weightlifting in community and aspire to weightlessness while listening to the voice of the late New York City poet Olga Cabral, 1909 to 1997. Her voice, like the starfish I hear over and over, no matter what dark wounds in time I hear. If the sea finds me, I am the sea Antaeus. I am the sister of the gods, and therefore water renews me. Cut me to pieces, fling me in the sea, I will return. I will return with new vision. Olga. She plunges into warm seas in a primeval membrane of words that become her flesh. She swims, dives, floats and plays with dolphins, becoming dolphin, spitting out water up to the clouds because she can. Sea breezes rippling over her ebony shoulders, lustrous skin, pearls of water flowing through her toes. Versatile lungs filled with air, she whirls down into the stillness of the ocean floor, where, drawn into magnetic fields of suspended time, she shapes shifting landscapes of her expanded self. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire.
You're welcome.
Okay, what we got here? We have our gorgeous girl from Oakland, ZIGGY Lowenberg. ZIGGY. Oh, I already introduced her. Do you remember?
Yes.
Absurd jazz, outstanding human being, activist, blah, 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 blah. I adore her. Okay, here we go.
Thank you.
ZIGGY Lowenberg.
Joni started, I think it was April of 2020 when we started on Zoom. We know each other from the Radical Poets Collective, which I know some of the other poets from. That's where we kind of garnered ourselves together, glued ourselves together, and then started again on Zoom. So it's great to be back in Loisada. I lived uptown. I lived on 11th Street between 2nd and 3rd Avenue, uptown. In the 80s when the East Village had a little more grit. And now I live in Oakland, California, so come visit.
Yay,
Oakland! Oakland, yes. Yeah, exactly. Got a lot of good.
And the Warriors.
And the general strike in the 30s, 1936.
Jack London.
Yes. So there was, Joni talked about her mom and losing her mom, and some of my dear ones know I lost my mom in this past December, so she would love that I'm doing some poetry, and she always asked for a poem, but like, how do you do a poem about the water you swim in, you know? But for her funeral, I wrote this a few days before, and I read it at her funeral. I didn't know I would read it then, but November 29th, 2023. She died December 2nd, 2023. As she lay dying, my mother lay dying in the next room. I decided I could order the facial cleanser, even though it came in a plastic tube, until they stopped making plastic, damn it. I honor my promise to keep washing my face 2 times a day, no matter what the demands, as Mom declines rapidly in the next room. My between a rock and hard plastic is nothing compared to her kind of purgatory. I am drinking more and more plastic bottles of water as I scramble to follow the dictates of trying to keep her comfortable. Ellie is still here enough to say nothing about this is comfortable. She uses not normal to let us know the condition of everything around her. I saw a water filter in the aisle of Publix and debated with myself the calculation of how much room in the refrigerator we could make squared with how many days she had left versus how many plastic Fiji water bottles more would I be using as my mother lay dying. So I zipped my cart around the aisles looking for familiar foods, foods she might eat if she started eating again. The Jewish food aisle was just a quick comfort. We already had gefilte fish and herring and egg matzah in the refrigerator. My mother lay dying in the next room. And she is now full of bile, and much of what she manages to say the last 2 days is not the Ellie that we love. We all know she never held back what she needed to say. It didn't always land well, but she spoke from her guts, and her guts now were diseased. The surprise visitor is Elijah, though we dutifully is not an Elijah. No, not Elijah, though we dutifully left him a glass of wine every spring, soon again. Instead, we got cancer, who sashayed, she loved that word, through the door and stole a few years. I want to make peace with this process. Watching my mommy is not that textbook case of making peace, at least as of today. A champion in some ways, a cautionary tale in others. We learn from our elders with discernment. The biggest lesson is to grow and keep stretching my own critical thinking apparatus from the gut to the brain, looping twice through my heart. That was for Ellie Lowenberg. Trepidatious Grace. Gracie, with her lovely ankle dangling outside of her mouth, tripping on the vanishing hem of the Shekhinah. Slapstick, sideshow minstreling for mercy, ticker tape for the awkward, like in Piobuco at the Festival d'Aibrite. Why not celebrate the ugly? Power to the klutz as we stumble over cracks in our systemic sidewalks, mixing up our metaphors on the yellow brick road to swanhood. Bless us, the clumsy, the awkward, and the crude, God and Goddess, we are your perspiring students. Usher us through the unjust aisles to a rebirth. Converge on our upper lip of sweat, careen on our funky breath of prayer and protest, untame the polite, wild the thirst, geomancy that holy spring of justice, an oasis in our well-trodden desert. After 7 circles of wandering, we glimpse our bride arrive. We worked with the form, the ghazal, the Persian poetry form in our workshop, and I wrote 2 of them that I've put together, and one of them was recently published in Lightwood Press. Yeah. Yay, Larry Carr. Yeah. Another Harlem ghazal in memory of Ron Giles. These are Harlem ghazals in G minor. Brass and wood doors shut on their own tonight. Currents cross wood floors in brown stone tonight. Harlem ghosts, friendly Caspers, all that jazz. Tease away that workaday amon tonight. Mr. Ron's hurrah invocates to join his groom-swept stage and share the throne tonight. Wipe office off your shoe, hang on stoop to greet, slow your keys and mute your phone tonight. Professor retires and burns to type in her limestone-lit turret, lone tonight. 50 years living on this block, wonders how a young mom became a crone tonight. Between St. Nick's and Convent, our block lost 4 folk. Virus etches grief in stone tonight. Abandoned townhouse, chained wrought iron gate, blood feud picked one too many bone that night. We bricklay stories, syncopate on slate, round this corner from subways grown tonight. Take time, look, the blessed trees have turned brown. Hawks in the air, blowing tone poem tonight.
Ziggy Lowenberg. And now we have homegrown boy, Edward Arocha Eek, a long-term resident of the neighborhood, from vending in Midtown to Coney Island, a life of city adventure.
How y'all doing today? Good. How y'all doing? So, I feel a bit of a fish out of water. I remember Fly back in the day. I remember Chris back in the day. I remember when I had long hair and I used to bounce on the walls. And,
The walls miss you.
and the walls miss me. So, I was a lost child, smoking cigarettes, spitting in the wind, waiting to become a cog in the machine, waiting for the fall of Rome. One day I got on a big bus and said, let me go, let me go, let me go somewhere where the grass is not green and the air is dirty and the people warm themselves around iron barrels and shiver. So I got here. I got to this place of crumbling, burnt out buildings, bums. I got to this place where St. Mark's Place was a souk, full of weird, magical things. I got to this place where there was dirt in every nook and corner of the sidewalk. I got to this place where there was despair and love and joy. And I told myself, man, you've made it home. You have made it home! New York City, you've made it home. Come on in, boy, come on in, boy. Suddenly I forgot I did not have to be a cog in that damn machine. I did not have to please anybody. I did not have to say, Mom, no, Dad, no, I was home. I could take off that punk rock jacket. I've traveled all over the country. Even my jacket fly, all the studs and spikes and glory. I could let my hair grow long. I could shave my hair. I could do anything I wanted. I did not care. I was home. New York City, here I come. I remember that road. I remember that bus ride. I remember getting stuck in places like Alpharetta, Georgia. Ugh. I remember getting stuck in places like San Antonio, Texas. I remember going through endless cattle fattening plots in the middle of Oklahoma. And suddenly, in the middle of all this, in the middle of all this despair, in the middle of all this loneliness, in the middle of all this everything, I found beauty. I found home. New York City, here I come. Lower East Side. I guess now it's known as the East Village? Oh yeah, the East Village. Oh God, the East Village. And somehow I'm becoming very heartsick. I'm very heartsick for what once was. I'm very heartsick from the missing beauty of the new buildings. I'm very heartsick for the I don't know if I can call them people, or what should I call them? These artificial beings made in a cookie cutter factory somewhere in the middle of somewhere, all going to fancy schools and working in finance. I'm very, very heartsick for home. I'm heartsick for home. New York, have you betrayed me? Thank you, folks.
That bird our lovely Nancy Hoch. Hoch. Damn it. Just push me down the stairs.
Hi, everybody. Hi. Let's see. Okay, and just see how, I'm going to raise this a little. I can't believe that I'm usually the shortest person. I think that's good. Too hot? I think it's all right. Yes? Okay. My brother and I were hacking around in the woods behind the house. The screams must have been very loud to carry so far. We looked into each other's face, our mouths open. We didn't know, so we ran. When we got to the house, we saw at the top of the stairs my father sitting on my teenage sister, hitting her about the face. My mother in her blue terry cloth bathrobe, bending slightly over them, saying nothing, as if she had just stepped out of a painting. I am two of those figures at the top of the stairs, the one who cannot find the words to avoid a beating, and the one who stands aside, wrapping herself in the greatcoat of silence. Some days I wake up wondering what good is talking when every word is a bullet in a shooting war started before you were born. Then silence hovers over this fallen place like an angel's sword, cutting the world clean to the bone, beautiful like the shape of trees in winter. Other days, all I can see are the borrow pits spread out across this pockmarked land, each unsaid, unheard word pooling like a poison in the blood that drip by caustic drip slices the veins from the inside out. A prisoner sits in solitary. Maybe she has a TV. Maybe she can hear one in a room down the corridor. She was told not to take the stand in her own defense. Or she was told to speak up because the truth would set her free. But whatever she did or didn't say, it was all the same. She could not make herself fit. Some days, she makes a soup of her pain, slamming anger, betrayal, the words of others into the pot, mashing all the unheard and misheard bits of herself hard against the sides with a spoon, a brew that will help, she hopes. When my father lay dying, deep in morphine sleep, my sister, a continent away, asked my brother to hold the phone to his ear. We didn't hear what she said. We couldn't tell whether he heard. But it stays with me now, how distilled over long years and at such great cost, there was, in the end, that small moment of grace. So I've been reading recently, and I don't know if this is true, but scientists are trying to find out whether birds and plants have a relationship. And they think they might. They think that maybe when some birds sing, the little stomata at the underside of the leaves, the little holes at the underside of the leaves, like relax and open. Cool. So this is called correspondences. My belly, a seashell, all ridges and rills, waiting for your fingers to pull me from the sand. Your boat, a body, lying keel to keel with mine, moonlight and breath lapping us together and apart, together and apart. In the early morning, our eyes awash with each other's color, blue and green-brown. In the backyard, a bird sings, and the red tulips on your windowsill The ones you bought yesterday at the farmer's market, open. So the last poem I want to read is something I wrote quite a while ago. It's called December 14, 2012, which is the day that the Sandy Hook Elementary School shootings happened. That was in Newton, Connecticut. Probably people all remember that there were 26 and 7-year-old children killed and 6 of the staff at the school as well. The shooting took place around 9:30 in the morning. And this poem traces my experience of the day, ending with the press conference that President Obama gave, like in the afternoon, relating to the shooting. It's sort of a found poem, so I'm going to go like this. The parts that I'm picking quotes from people, and so I want to say these are the actual quotes that people made, so that's the found part. And I just want to mention, you probably all know this, but armed drones, like the ones that are being used now in Gaza and all over the world, and we've used them, and the U.S. has used a lot. They're controlled remotely by soldiers, sometimes just sitting in a room, in Utah or Syracuse or someplace like that. So December 14, 2012. That morning in Brooklyn, I heard, not on every station, just on one radio station, sometime around 8:40, that a group of young people had been blown up by a missile fired from a U.S. drone. How awful, I thought, to be just sitting with your friends in a park on a summer's evening. They are all dead. That's all I know, so don't ask me how many, their names or ages, what the first responders did or thought, where or when or who or what the town went through. The Catholic priest speaking on the radio had just returned not from the town where it happened, many months ago, but from the city of Kabul, where 25 young people have dedicated themselves to ending the killing. They tell him, the drones hover every other night over the villages. They sound low, buzzing. Why? By noon, that is what everyone in America wants to know. In Connecticut, State Trooper Vance says the weapons are being traced back to the workbench where they were being assembled, and says we will put every single resource into this investigation. But in Afghanistan, everyone knows the drone will not be traced back to the workbench where it was assembled, to the National Guardsman or woman inside a windowless room in Syracuse, only 259 driving miles from Sandy Hook Elementary School, to the president, who by mid-afternoon has called a press conference to say they had their entire lives ahead of them. Woo!
Thank you, Nancy. Actually, we skipped over Robert Heger. I'm sorry, Meg. That's okay. That's my bad. You're next. Okay. Okay. So, Bobby Heger, Robert Heger, actor, poet, activist, designer, computer nerd, my baby brother. My best friend.
Oh, horizontal.
Yeah, horizontal.
See?
Okay, coming up.
Coming right up.
All right, so some of this stuff is fresh off the presses, so to speak. Start with econocomical. Economy? Economy, you say? Nothing economical about it. An affluent sleight of hand. Marie Antoinette's offer of cake. Shrill Benjamins goose-step down the street in their Sunday finest, as many can't afford to eat. Spread a buffet of ciphers to inebriate enervated multitudes, lives spent pursuing a lie they cannot do other than swallow. Survival of the fattest wallet. Dissent met with the guillotine. Compliance with president-bedecked paper meant to compensate lives lost to meaningless symbols that soon render the bearer comatose. Why not save a few trees? Release a few souls from paperweight. Why not? Trees are for lumber, paper, resources, commerce, commerce, industry. Where are your assets? Where do your asses set? Who cuts down the trees? Who clear cuts the forests? Here's a crazy thought. How about no dollars to swallow the souls leaving an empty husk? How about lives where the main worry is how best to live with others? How about one person's triumph being a triumph for all? How about it? How about it? How about it? And here's my recent experiment with the sonnet, The Early Morning Light. Concealed within the early morning light that leaves me in perplexed and weary state, an icy wind assails a path of light to challenge acquiescence to my fate. Too late awakened in this dank abyss, I must traverse the darkness self-imposed, confront a demon I must now dismiss, emerge renewed and once again composed. A tender-footed venture to unknown reveals a field of purest joy untold, that quenches thirst I suffered once alone, allowing a new chapter to unfold. Arrived in earthly garden of delight, exhale in gratitude for bright daylight. This next one is also going to be published in Silver Birch Press. This is also for my mother, tribute to my mother. So if there are duplications here, you'll forgive us. We were each other's heroes. We were each other's heroes, my mother and I. We shared a history of nigh on 60 years. Our adulation was nurtured by years of tumult, worn down by my 20s to mutual recognition. She knew me as few others have, recognized in me her own struggles. I saw within her tenacious resolve the indefatigable reflection of my own. The turbulent years of my teens, so replete with angst, were mirrored by her life or death struggles to remain the concert pianist she was meant to be, yet tied to supporting with Dad, the family she loved. It was years before I would come to understand the meaning of this struggle. She never stopped playing, accompanying my father, the immigrant Polish Jew, child prodigy and concert violinist she decided to marry upon his return from World War II horrors. Yet neither she nor he made the concert stage their primary home. Upon retirement from her day job in the late 70s, she and my father experienced a rebirth of their musical aspirations, returning to the concert stage. My heart soared every time I could be there. After my father's death in 2013, we drew closer. In her eyes, I was the idealized and heroic figure who ventured into college at 42 years old and completed 2 degrees at the age of 55. In her eyes, I could do no wrong, often causing me to blush. Heroics? I did what I had to do. She saw it differently. When she succumbed to complications from Alzheimer's in 2022, my sister and I were left to weave together the pieces of a fabric rich with laughter, enjoyment, love, and tears. To this day, I still picture her as the little girl in old pictures, standing proudly in command next to her little brother on the front stoop of their Brooklyn home. She was Brooklyn through and through. When the family moved to Southern California, the girl was taken out of Brooklyn, but no one could take Brooklyn out of the girl. But I also picture her as the resolute, beautiful young woman of 18, poised in her publicity photo for her debut at New York Times Hall, soon to play a fiercely ambitious program. To her, I was the heroic figure in adulthood. To me, she was and is the heroic mother, friend, and musical artist I will love for as long as I live. Maybe a little mutual hero worship was in order. This next one is called Long Division. Cold, calculating logic, hearts of steel, minds malleable as titanium long ago devised the formula to set apart, to shun, to stun, to run all those behind lines into ground-up mulch at the terminus where a white line divides, draws and quarters the toll booth of no entrance, no return, no deposit. Division is everywhere. In food for thought, in thought of food, in a bad attitude. Permission to cross the white line? Granted. Just stay behind the blue line. That far. No further. It ends here. It ends now. It ends how? You are so like me. I so like you. Shall we meet behind the white line? Did you hear it on the grapevine? See it in the cartographer's mark? The line of demarcation that leaves its mark on the indelible creases of uncharted time? O brother, where art thou? O sister, where is the art in this artless crucible? Cold and calculating illogic of long division eternal, so long the division, so illogical the formula that shows its cracks within gaps of the nocturnal omissions that ever widen the chasm between one and the other. That damnable line, a figment of imagination realized, conjured as the ally of all enemies and the enemy of all allies. Let me allay the fears stirred up in the wake of blue and white lines, proof that they don't exist, except in the obstinate grumblings of imagination, incarcerated in the stagnant pools of complacent rage. This imprisoned muse cannot endure. It must at last dawn on a new age. So after all of this heaviness, I have a parting shot here. Thank you. I have a parting shot here of some easy stuff. Frivolity. Frivolity. Frivolity, joyous romp, sated heart, rounds the corner of despair, does not look back, impulsively soars to the heights of fancy, vaulting over all obstacles in sight, open to the possibilities of moon-soaked night, languid, yet ready to bound with zest to the next feat, impressing lightness over ponderous woes, traversing chasms as though they were passages, yielding to the next delight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Bobby. You're a good kid. Maggie Wrigley is a writer, archivist, and activist who has lived on the Lower East Side since she moved into the spot at Bullet Space, then known as 6 o'clock, in 1987. She co-edited and contributed to the Architecture of Change, Building a Better World, and she works with the Museum of Reclaimed Urban Space and ABC No Rio.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for staying inside on this beautiful day. It's beautiful in here, too. Thanks, everybody. Okay, you know, I did some pandemic writing, too. I love that you all had a group. And some of this stuff came out of that. I call them pendomes. Anyway, this one's called The News, the Cosmos, and Me. I want the cosmos. Humanity is feeling too much in its cruelty today. I look to the shifts in the surface of the sun, golden storms, mesmerizing, eternal. Not really so, but compared to us. The comet won't be back for 7,000 years. I guess I'll miss it next time around. The eclipse was easier, a pinhole in a cardboard box, star and moon in hand. Finding their way. The ants march through my room as if I'm an ancient trail that this old building has but a temporary place in. They don't diverge from that path. No food entices, or honey dropped on the floor. Large-winged insects climb out of the walls, and we worry that termites are working on the old bones of the house. But they are summer's doomed drones searching for a queen. Wasps crawl out of a crack in the floor one night, yellow jackets buzzing loud and so tough the blow of a combat boot fails to stop them. We flee, return to do battle with steel wool and spackle, but they are gone. The most beautiful guest at my wedding is a glistening, green-hued slug. Pigeons live in the room behind my bed, the broken east window, their cliff ledge. Their fluttering and flutters and coos a salve to the noise from the street. Laughters, sirens, firecrackers, gunshots. Every spring, a pair of rock doves comes to my fire escape, and they build a sparse, scrappy nest. My cat stalks, but I keep the window closed. They guard their eggs, hatch the baby birds. Their arrival sings spring. But 1 year a storm blew the nest away with the eggs. There is no return. A hawk hunts now, wind draft to tall tree to tenement roof, and stalks the cat in its sights, sunning on the fire escape landing. And this poem is, it's dedicated to two Johns, John Farris, the poet that a lot of people here knew, and lived in our building for the last 20 years of his life or so, who I loved very much. And another John, Jonathan Leake, a very radical activist and person that I also loved very much. He's in France now, he's failing, but this is dedicated to these two people. It's called Loving Middle Finger. And all we have is what we have here, but it's huge. It's you and me and the bricks of this old building. The parts I left here, my knees, my lungs, the broken tooth when the drill kicked back, my blood when a stray nail caught me, your blood when the baton caught you. Our crooked floors and messy hearts, rocks tossed at windows, keys thrown in a sock, hammers and nails and jars of change, smoke in the hall, teeth in a tin. Our yard with the maple and the willow tree, grown from a branch in a bucket of water when they tore another ancient beauty down. It's the poet's ashes thrown into the fire, and black hollyhocks, and the tree with leaves like platters that burst from the dirt, and the artists came to marvel. The blind professor drew the gathering in colors. Juneberries, confetti, the space, magic ground. The ghost of Pinheiro wanders the yard, eats mac and cheese and curses. It's the roses and vines in the old people's garden, grown out of rubble, burned wrecks of cars and homes and hurt. It's salsa and merengue and hip-hop streets, speakers in windows, bass beats driving by, waft of barbecues down by the river. It's the music, the accents, the New Rican, New Bengali, New York voices, finding a way to talk, to gesture and wave the loving middle finger. Fuck you, you fucking fuck. See you tomorrow. It's the shopkeeper sneaking tea in your bag, a gift from his mountains of Assam to Lower East Side mornings. Dominican stew in the legend of slugs, jazz deep in the mortar of the red brick walls. 3rd Street hums Isla and Shep and Sun Ra. Yeah. Echoes Farris and Cannon and Bimbo in mirrors. Ghosts dance and drum, daubed with paint, reflected in horns. And now Matthew, the ship with beautiful hands, walks through them, talks to them, plays cosmic blues for them, piano sutras for us all.
I'm just blown away by the incredible diversity and qualities of the poets that are reading today. And now I have the pleasure to present Fly, who I met when she was like maybe 20 years old and had just come here from Canada. And wow, we do grow up. Fly was born in international waters and is a citizen of the Atlantic Ocean. I'm jealous. She washed up on the shores of the East River in the late 1980s and moved into a burned out, gutted shell of a tenement building. As part of the collective that rebuilt the place, she lives there to this day and does a lot of writing and art stuff.
Sorry, I'm a little out of breath. I was in New York for 9/11 and I got a respiratory condition. I wanted to thank Bill CASHMAN, joining everyone who's here today for including me. So I've been doing digital graphics since like 1988 was when I first started. So I've lived in a lot of evolutions of digitalia. So I am old, I am bipolar, and I have lived in multiverses my entire life, it seems. Marshall McLuhan really blew my mind in the punk rock 70s. I don't know if you heard of Marshall McLuhan, but he's awesome. So I wrote this thing which is about this whole idea these days of making memories. It's a big sale item. So making memories, the massive industry of commodification of experience is nothing new. But more and more of a gap is opening between actual experience and the screen that chooses how it will be remembered. Real histories decided by likes. Your device will inform you when you have a memory and what to do with it. Time will not be linear in your digital identity. It is always right now. Meanwhile, hidden histories escape their chains in the real world, but there are too many realities for truth to find a home. So what does truth have to do to become legitimate? Sell its soul or sell a script? Get a makeover? What happens when the truth looks at itself in the mirror? Does it fall in love with itself? Or does it become a reflection of its reflection, never changing, just receding infinitely? Within our exponentially expanding multiverse of digitalia, we have a technological elite who can afford better electronics with artificial enhancements, making more memories, better memories, memories on sticks and on thumbs, and on hard-on drives. And up in the clouds, your head is in the clouds, and dead you may well be in the arms of virtual angels. I need to have a drink. I hope this isn't counting my time.
I'll pause it.
So I've been doing a lot of biographical writing. I'm super old, but I have a young soul. Unfortunately, in many cases, I'm an eternal teenager. So I've been writing all these stories about when I was a kid, and I know that like everyone here, all of us like creative, weirdo, outcasts, incast people have had very tumultuous experiences growing up. And the same for me. But I'm trying to focus a little more on the good ones as well as the bad ones these days. So this is the story of my first semi-public art action. Okay. This is a story in which my inborn artistic imperative got me into big trouble. Okay. I was approximately 6 years old when my family were moving yet again. My dad was in the Navy, so we would move on a semi-regular basis. So we were moving from K Street in an urban area to a crazy rural house, which I later found out was haunted. Like seriously, true story, but different story. This house was on a dirt road called Belmont. Sounded fancy, Belmont Road. Not so fancy as a road. As we were packing everything up in our K Street home, we were having to use very large, reinforced, double-thick cardboard moving boxes. This is what moving companies do. Those boxes, as I was later to learn, would then be returned to be used again for other multiple moves. Getting everything packed up in our house was double stressful for my parents because we owned that house on K Street. My dad and Grampy had in fact worked themselves on building that house. Now there was going to be a whole other family renting the place for 2 or 3 years, so we had to remove absolutely everything as well as have the place in tip-top shape. So I just remember a lot of those boxes. Stuff flying everywhere, my dad making labels for everything. I too had been busy packing my own little collection of treasured objects. Whenever I moved, I had this little box, a pink plastic box with a handle like a kitty-sized play suitcase. I would fill it with my most prized and treasured objects. But once it was full, then I had to figure out what to leave behind. Anytime we moved, I had to curate and update my treasured collection of items to fit perfectly in my pink box. Happily, I could always keep all of my books and drawings separately. So the night before this big, crazy moving day, the anticipation was killing me. 6 years old. I couldn't sleep. It was very late, or very early in the morning, when I made the decision that I can make everyone happy and make everybody's moving experience less stressful, more fun, by drawing pictures all over the boxes with my crayons. So I drew and drew and drew. I drew a lot of sunny sunshine with grassy areas, trees with branches. That was actually my specialty at the time. There were happy people, rivers, lakes, bushes, and most definitely lots of sunshine in my drawings. I drew on as many boxes as I could before finally going to sleep. When I woke up, it was very early morning, and I soon found out that I was in a shitload of trouble. Turns out I had basically damaged those boxes to the point that the movers claimed they would not be able to reuse them. They told my parents we would have to pay for all of the damaged boxes. My mom and dad were not happy about this situation, I can remember them talking with the movers and the movers being really pissed off. My mom might have given me a beat down, but my dad was there, so I didn't get physically punished. My dad, in fact, seemed a bit amused because although he was a chief engineer and ran the huge engine rooms of those massive Navy ships, he was still an artist at heart. When he was in the military academy, he used to draw single-panel gag cartoons for the monthly journal. So he had always encouraged me to draw, and especially to draw comics. I think that in the end, they made some kind of agreement with the movers because they did end up taking the boxes back after the move. The point is that I had done this massive art action, this huge project that I was secretly incredibly proud of. And even though I ended up getting in trouble, I learned something about the power of art. My drawings stayed on those boxes. And maybe they did cheer people up. I think it did impress my dad. I wonder if those boxes with the drawings ever got used for another family moving, and maybe that family enjoyed my masterpieces. Whatever the fallout, that experience made me even more determined to be an artist. It was an early lesson in the power of art and in how to display your art as strategically as possible. I learned the importance of figuring out how to send a message that may not be pleasing everyone, but that makes visible the statement that you wish to convey. And I have always had the best of intentions. That said, I was definitely more careful after that about where I use those goddamn crayons. Just another short one? Yes. About my, okay, so this is about my early buzz cut, which happened a little before the move actually happened. So my first buzz cut. My dad, being Irish, would homebrew beer in the basement of our K Street house in a big red barrel. There was a hose going into the barrel. I had no idea how this worked. I only knew that the resulting beverage was delicious and made me giddy. My dad would give me and my brother little cups of the golden nectar. You know, when you're Irish, it's like one of the food groups, right? One day, after we all partook of the suds, which is what my dad would call it, the suds, and it did have suds, he decided it was time to give my brother a haircut. So out came the clippers. I loved the sound of the clippers and thought it was fascinating how the hair came off in nice, neat strips, leaving a soft peach fuzz that just had to be rubbed. I really wanted to experience that, so I begged my dad to shave my head as well. He thought this was hilarious and brilliant suggestion and got to work right away. It was a wonderful feeling, and I was enthralled as I watched my curls float to the ground. It was a bigger pile than I would have suspected, and I didn't really realize that I could not put them back. I was very much pleased with my fuzzy head, however. Soon my mom was calling us upstairs for dinner, and we all staggered up there, a little more tipsy, I think, than my dad had intended. On the way up the stairs, I completely forgot about my bald head. When we emerged into the kitchen and my mom saw me, she got this shocked look on her face which freaked me out. She started yelling at my dad, who was laughing, and that made her even madder. And in my mind, I remember her throwing plates at him and trying to hit him with a frying pan. But I don't think it was quite that traumatic, but I remember that frying pan. She went after him. My mom was very upset that he had cut off all my beautiful curls. And for months after that, everyone would congratulate her and compliment her 3 beautiful boys.
Thank you so much, Fly. I've known Fly for years as a graphic, a visual artist, but this is such a pleasure to hear your work. Thank you. I'm going to introduce now an old friend and colleague, and Pat Russell, who is taking the chewing gum out of her mouth. And we worked together in the Living Theater for many years. She also worked with Irondale. She's written her own pieces. She's a teaching artist. She's a piece of work. She's a part of the Lower East Side, the 6th Avenue, and
6th Street.
And Avenue B Garden, and a pillar of the community.
Aww. And coming to terms with new phases in our lives, all you aging East Villagers. Holy shit, have I heard a theme going on here today. So in that I've learned to find these resources about giving things away, and I don't know if you all know about buy nothing groups on Facebook, where you just get to give stuff away. It's a gifting thing. Get rid of your stuff. So I'm getting rid of my kitchen table because I need to have an oval shape with a pedestal, just because it's going to work so much better. So it's a decision I've made. This table and its memories. This table. Viney Burroughs. At this table, remembering, sitting, studying scripts, reading, feeding lines that she must memorize, feeding lines that I must memorize, laughing at this table, roaring with laughter at this table. How can I let it go? Will all of our fine dining on philosophy, questions, let's Google that, memories, hers, mysteries, she was, hopes and fears and wishes that we shared. Will they all be swallowed whole in giving away of this table? Viney Burroughs was comfortable at this table, comfortable to share her wisdom, humor, sorrows. At this table, Viney and I communed. How can I give this table away? What is it that leaves when this table leaves? Will there be some psychic crumbs caught in the corners, waiting for me to discover years into the future, only to land in the lap of some uninitiated, unaware inheritor of this table? Will they know the value of what they have chanced upon? The jewels that spilled from her mouth, from her heart, from her experience, from her loving heart. I am such an analog girl in a digital world. I mean, I don't even like to read your emails. No, anyone's emails. I have Siri read my emails to me. So if you are writing to tell me that our mutual friend XYZ has sadly departed for a realm beyond, you should know that I'm hearing this in Siri's voice. In a dead, metallic, overly gentle, and inhumanly parsed cadence and rhythm voice. I am so sorry to have to tell, I'm so sorry to have to be the one to tell you that our friend XYZ has sadly departed for a realm beyond. I am with you in our mutual grief. Sigh. So as you tap away at your keys or thumb punch your phone, writing something that you sincerely hope conveys to the recipient your fill in the blank. Sadness, enthusiasm, wonderment, curiosity, anger, frustration, desire, dread, menace, bewilderment, compassion, aggression, aggrievement, joy. Stop and try this. Ask Siri to read your something in order to convey one of those human feelings. In a dead, metallic, overly gentle, and humanly parsed cadence and rhythm voice, I dare you to truly do. I do dare you. And as this is a humorous piece, I'm sure this is coming across to you as a joke and not menacing at all. No, not menacing. No, not at all.
Great. Okay, we are down to our very last reader, who was going to be our next last reader, but then Frank bumped in front of you. So this is, I'm sure you all know her. I just met her today. I just had the pleasure of meeting her today. HAYLEY Lubow. Is that correct?
Lubow.
Lubow.
Yeah.
Lubow is a poet, singer, songwriter, and yoga teacher. She naturally fell into writing poetry at the age of 15 and never stopped. Her love for producing and performing her work comes from her desire for intimate, intelligent, and honest connections with her community through art. Beautiful. Common themes of her writing are fleeting emotions, self-exploration, and her experiences with grief. A nice bouquet. Thank you. HAYLEY Lubow.
I have so much stuff written in so many different notebooks. So I took a photo of a poem I wanted to read, but my handwriting is also very messy. So I'm sorry for reading on my phone, but it's a photo of a notebook. Okay. I forget that I'm a poet. I remember words were my best friends. Black ink on white paper, baby, I love you so. You're flat, yet curvy, loud and patient. You're a part of me, yet completely outside of myself. I used to scoff at spoken word because I could never narrate, emote at the same pace as you all. Baby, take a breath. Now, deepen your breath, starting with your exhale. I remember when my poems didn't get interrupted by text messages. Hey girl, it's been a long day. Hi my love, just thinking of you. I was alone in my genius solitude between red walls. I understood myself more than I understood life. I was 17, for God's sake. My greatest words, snuck in between Bukowski quotes, between C pluses on quizzes, and dreams flying a high 35,000 altitude. My ears would pop, my fingers shake, creating another damn miracle of expression. I am forever faithful to her. I think about her now as I sit, fucking directionless, 6 months into 30. Monetize on what you're good at, they say. They say. But all I want is to be loved. Here's some rose petals for your bath, some ashwagandha for your smoothie, pepper spray for your commute. But no, all I need is a ballpoint pen and an empty margin. All right, I got a few more, let's see. Okay. Please don't die. I smile at my little tomato plane. Please. But its roots find abundance in its small round pot, and the sun burns its leaves a little, but frayed edges are to be expected living in a city like this. And if plants really do react to sounds, then we both whine and sway to the lullaby of anthems bumping on the street below. Alright. Here's one more, just to kill the mood. Yeah, rape isn't a form of resistance. It's all our fault. Your blame is nothing special, and especially nothing new. Flashback to a February morning in 2011. A 17-year-old girl cries out as the parties still rage until well past dawn, and our fake friends link up smirking through an ecstasy high, and the lights and the laughter and the touching, and everyone running to escape that truth shining back at us in the mirror. And so we danced and we danced and we still showed up because we were used to crying anyways. That's what girls do. So, on an October morning in 2023, when the world blames us once again, another flock of Jewish girls crying out, too stupid to know they're in the wrong place at the wrong time, too worthless to be God's favorite and his greatest sufferer. We already knew which direction your eyes and fingers would go before we turned on the TV, before we checked our social media, because no one even believed us 13 years ago when we said we just wanted to dance. Wow.
First of all, I want to thank everybody here. I want to thank the audience. That above all, thank you for coming to listen to poetry on this beautiful afternoon and supporting a community of poets that's very diverse and very entrenched in community. And that's why we're all here, because that's why we're here. Where would we be without our community? So thank you, and thank you to all the poets who read, and I'm just blown away by your goodness and your brave hearts. So thank you. Have a great evening and the rest of the weekend.
I'm here until Tuesday morning. Like I want